We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see it, KYJ. Things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. We are live Monday night, March 29, 2010, coming off the heels of WWE Wrestlemania 26. A lot to talk about this week, gentlemen, including Raw and Impact from tonight. Raw going off the air as we speak, as Shawn Michaels says goodbye to the wrestling world. Damian Nelson sitting here with David the Hero, the Kaz, and the man they call Meathead. Now all of you have "the" in your names.
Well, it's about time.
Rossi Brown, the Skull Crusher, who is probably in some pain given the matches he had this past weekend in Phoenix, will be joining us for the second hour.
Damian Nelson, the TNA mark. There you go, the
No,
catering guy.
That wasn't even funny.
The catering guy. There you go. How about that?
Catering came up a lot this weekend, didn't it, Damian?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. But anyway, so much to talk about on a week where the biggest show of the year has gone into the history books. Just last night in Phoenix, Arizona, we just got back about an hour or two ago into town from Phoenix. And, again, let's just get right into it, I guess, and talk about WrestleMania 26. Now, Frank, it was your very first WrestleMania live. Dave Hero, it was your first one in almost 10 years, actually 10 years exactly, and Meathead able to watch it at home. So the different perspectives, we need to take this into account. Shows are generally judged differently by how you watch them. And while the three of us were there live, we'll have our opinions, and Meathead will have his opinion in watching it on air. I will preface everything I say tonight with this. Things may change once we watch the video presentation of it, which we've not yet had the opportunity to do. I don't think they're going to change dramatically, but sometimes things are just delivered a lot better in one form compared to the other. But first, Frank, your overall perception of WrestleMania, the event, being in that huge stadium, 72,000-plus fans, beautiful stadium in Phoenix, Arizona, and seeing the spectacle that is WrestleMania. What would you say about the experience?
It's really amazing. The moment you walk into the airport, you see the WrestleMania signs. You know that there's something big going to happen very soon. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, there were people talking about it. It's really something similar to being at the Super Bowl, where there are fans. Granted, there's fans from both sides. In this case, it was fans of wrestling and fans of WWE. And it was really just an amazing – it's hard to describe. It's along the lines of Super Bowl.
As a wrestling fan, though,
the energy.
As a wrestling fan, I think one of the things I noticed is since they've partnered with cities over the last few years, and I really would say that Detroit was probably the first one where it was huge. Orlando is the one where they got it completely right. As a wrestling fan coming to town and knowing that the town has opened its arms for you as a wrestling fan, it's pretty dang on cool.
Just to see people with the WrestleMania hats, and there are plenty of John Cena shirts out there from every block. All the belts that people had. You knew that this was something special going to happen in these 4 days. So you got to give credit to the fans for making that happen. It was really a special event.
The event itself, the live experience at WrestleMania 26 on your birthday.
Yeah. It was, if you have an opportunity in one time in your life, you got to experience it. The production that goes into something like that is just amazing. And to be part of that and watch that, now it's long. You better be ready. But it's really a production that I've never seen before. It was amazing.
You know what I never saw before was Frank doing the "What's Up" with R-Truth. That was kind of disturbing. What were you thinking? I mean, people just staring at you.
Well, you He made me do it.
Well,
I lost the bet.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was that he put the vodka in the baby's taking lemonade. They were vodka
Hey, there's no
lemonade.
booze
No,
at
there's no-
babies.
He carried his own. I saw it from a twit pic because Frank twits now.
A little bit. No, it was really the production value that goes into something like that. The months of preparation that they must do to get that set is it's really experience. If you have an opportunity out there, if you can do it, if they come to your hometown, you've got to get that opportunity.
I would venture to say from a production standpoint, it is probably bigger than any major sporting event, including the Super Bowl, because they're not dealing with the concert elements. Granted, the halftime show is always amazing what they do production-wise, but you're talking in a 4.5 or 4-hour event where they've got the same type of stuff that they do simply just during the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, the halftime show on the Super Bowl.
The stage was amazing.
Yeah.
That structure was humongous.
And it's difficult to really get an appreciation for it on TV because seeing it there, especially compared to the people, it's a building. I mean, they call it a superstructure when they set those things up at the entrance ramp, and it truly is that, a superstructure. We are going to be soliciting your conversation, your phone calls, your discussion on your thoughts on WrestleMania 26 when we enter the phone zone at about 45 minutes into the hour tonight. The numbers that you can call, 276-ESPN, 276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-3776, 1-800-990-ESPN. Gentlemen, if you've seen any of the photographs from this past weekend of any of us on Facebook or Twitter or whatnot, we've got a lot of stories to tell about some fun that we had the opportunity to have with some very great WWE superstars over the past weekend.
And let's not forget Damien's altercation with Jose Canseco and Barbara Streisand.
Well, celebrities were out this weekend for WrestleMania. I had a lot of explaining to do about that Streisand thing, to Streisand. But be that as it may, let's talk about the big story of the night, obviously, which is the retirement of Shawn Michaels on WWE Raw. Well, we have yet to finish watching the last few minutes after the DX glow sticks got dropped on the ground as a bit of a tribute. Shawn Michaels' career is, I would imagine, completely over as a professional wrestler, as an in-ring performer. And there are two reasons why I think this is the case. Firstly, he's a man of his word. Secondly, in 1998, when he left, he really didn't step back in the ring for 4 years. I mean, he really went away, and most of that was due to injury. But I truly think, and he made some very specific points at some very specific people, I think, in his conversation tonight with the fans. But your take, gentlemen, on Shawn Michaels' retirement speech, if you will, tonight on Raw. And we'll start with you, Meathead.
You know, it was it felt real. Again, it felt real only because, you know, having been there live for the Ric Flair thing where they waltzed out all these different guys for Flair, and it just didn't seem legitimate when Flair was doing it. I mean, you felt it, but it felt like he was kind of working us. And as we see, you know, and there was, you know, Damien, you mentioned him while we were watching. That was kind of a shot at Ric Flair about how he, you know, HBK said he's a man of his word, and this time he'll say it. You said it, Hero said it, somebody said it. I don't know who said it.
I said it.
Okay, you're hot about it, right?
No, I'm just saying I did it.
Okay, my mistake. So I liked it. I liked the fact that it was just one-on-one, you know, Shawn with the fans, and he got to, you know, explain exactly where he was, who he was, how he felt. So we'll see how long he stays away from WWE TV.
Kaz, your thoughts?
Well, it's very emotional. It's probably very hard for him to do, and I thought it was well done. I liked how he just thanked everyone, that especially the fans at the end. And the production, people, you don't get that a lot. People don't thank those people who work really hard to make those wrestlers look good. And to take that moment to recognize them, was classy. So I thought the whole speech was excellent, was well done. Obviously, we didn't see the very, very end, but it was well done.
David the Hero.
I thought it was great. I thought it was nice that it was real intimate for him. It was just him in the ring to see what he wanted, so you can tell it was not scripted.
Mm-hmm.
And Shawn Michaels, I mean, I don't foresee him. He'll be back on TV,
right?
Just not an in-ring performer,
right? And that was what I said. We'll see how long it takes him to come back on TV.
He wants to stay home, wants to be with his kids. He's got more money than he needs, and you know that Vince is going to have him signed on as like a goodwill ambassador for the company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So every once in a while he'll go and he'll be the WrestleMania ambassador. Whereas leading up to WrestleMania in Atlanta, Shawn Michaels will be out there doing all the press conferences, and whatnot. But it was emotional. I mean, watching Triple H and Shawn Michaels hug to end the show are two really of the best friends in the wrestling business. And now Triple H is moving on in a different direction in his career because now he no longer has that confidant on the road.
Right. Frank, they used to talk about how Brett Favre had that when he was with the Packers here, to kind of make a sports analogy, where when Brett Favre lost Frank Winters, he lost Chimera, the guys that he grew up with in the locker room, what happens to Triple H now with Shawn being out of the locker room?
Well, I think he just maybe turned the chapter and, okay, now I'm in the mentoring phase, like he's doing with Sheamus and like he may be doing with someone else.
But let's not kid ourselves. He's also tight with Cena and Randy Orton as well.
That's part of it.
What do they call that, Sunday brunch?
Something like that, which came up quite a few times this weekend. But, right now Triple H
came up, not brought up by us, by the way.
No, it was not us.
And not even brought up in reference to that interview with Anderson where he first brought it up on this program, which was the most, I think, impactful part of it coming up. It was pretty surreal.
But you know what? For me, I'm sure some people are sitting back there laughing, saying, "Oh, ha ha ha!" He's retiring. Oh, people are crying. Legitimately, there are true feelings there with those two guys.
Sure.
And it's doing something you love for 20 years. And being in front of 30, 40, 50,000 people chanting for you, cheering you, booing you.
Right.
And now he's going to go home. And it's going to be his wife and his kids. It's going to be a big adjustment for Shawn Michaels.
He's also going to have to acclimate himself to a daily lifestyle of being at home.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. It's going to be different for him, and he will eventually get the itch just the same way like Ric Flair, like Michael Jordan, like Magic Johnson.
But wasn't Ric Flair's, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, that was a financial part of it, too,
Ric
for him
Flair
to come
came back because he needs the money.
But Ric Flair also had the ambassador deal right away, too, when he got retired as well, and he had the itch. How long did it take him? 2 months, and he was already scrapping with Jericho.
Ric Flair still wants to be in the business. I don't believe Shawn Michaels wants this anymore. He wants to be a family man. He wants to go home, and he doesn't need to do this anymore. Neither does Ric Flair, by the way, but Ric Flair feels he should be.
Well, but it's two different situations. Shawn Michaels has two very young children growing up.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, all of his kids are gone or in jail.
And
that's true.
And the problem for Ric Flair is he's left alone home with his wife, and we see that's not been working out for him either.
And Shawn Michaels, he's comfortable being Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
He has no problem being Michael Hickenbottom.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair
doesn't want to be Ric.
All he knows what to do is to be Ric Flair.
Woo. Yeah, and Shawn's young enough with young children.
44.
Yeah.
That means it still works.
Yeah, he's young enough.
But you know what? He's young enough. But you saw him, David. You saw him. I saw him. He's in some pretty rough shape, and he certainly is.
Oh yeah.
And this is going to probably sound more harsh than I mean it, but he's a shell of what he once was. He's still a great performer, still one of the best in the business, but
a physical specimen no longer.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lock that the headliner for next year's Hall of Fame is certainly going to be Shawn Michaels in Atlanta.
Do you think that? I don't know. I think they might hold off on that. I don't think Shawn Michaels in Atlanta would match.
I don't know. The city doesn't matter, I don't think.
I still don't buy it. That's money in the bank. It's like, they got Arn Anderson in the back. They had Ricky Steamboat in the back. That's money in the bank. They could use them whenever.
The headliner, which they did not have this year, though.
That's what I'm saying.
They need those headliners, and Shawn Michaels should be that headliner next year, I think, to first buy off the emotion that was generated this year and to get people to remember last year's event and potentially purchase the current year event. To me, that seems like a lock, and we'll see what happens come time to announce that stuff next year for WrestleMania 27, which is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia.
And the countdown begins, right?
Countdown to what?
Well, to us being in Atlanta.
The coverage?
I mean,
we got to call it Doodle the Butcher.
No. I talked to Armando. He may open a baby in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I tell you right now at pwrshow.com and on our
babies
YouTube.
won't be steak and lemonade, right? It's just going to be babies and
I was
adult
talking. I was in the middle of a very important promo. Right now at pwrshow.com and on our YouTube channel, a very special look at Baby Steak and Lemonade with Frank Cosentino, the Cos, and a very entertaining, as always, Armando Estrada, including PWR Interactive. Some of our great fans, listeners, and viewers participated on camera in that episode. And while it did get posted a little bit late due to some technical difficulties, it is there and certainly worth watching. It was a train wreck. A complete and total train wreck.
Armando was amazing all weekend.
He was. He
even saved your life.
He did.
Got to give credit, if you haven't done already, to the fans that came out to see us and to be part of the program. To just walk around.
They were there every day.
To walk around and say, "Hey, that's a testament to what you guys have wanted, the fans, and what we give you."
But you shouldn't have gotten so upset when they thought you were Meathead.
I did not.
When we come back, we're going to begin the conversation about WrestleMania 26, match by match, and we're going to enter the phone zone. You can participate by calling 276-3776 or 1-800-990-3776. Also got some giveaways tonight here on the 540 ESPN radio station, and we are going to take a time out. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com and PWRShow.com. We're live Monday, March 29th, 2010, celebrating just over 12 years on the air now. It's pretty amazing.
It does.
Thank you for joining us, and it's been a good night talking about WrestleMania. We're going to continue talking about WrestleMania, and speaking of WrestleMania, there is nothing bigger, nothing more spectacular, and nothing that can compare to WrestleMania. You watch as John Cena, Triple H, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and all your favorite WWE superstars carved out a place in history at this legendary event last night. It was live on pay-per-view, and you can go to WrestleMania.com for details on how you can watch the replay. And stay tuned. Later tonight here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we've got a chance to win your very own copy of last year's WrestleMania, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, 3-disc DVD set coming up later tonight here on the Pro Wrestling Report. WrestleMania itself, the card actually got better and better the more we talked about it. So the more I talked about it anyways, at least to me. However, the overall delivery was unique, in my opinion, and let's talk about it match by match. Our opening contest at WrestleMania 26 was the dark match. It was the Battle Royal, which featured everybody else who wasn't on the card, including Hornswoggle. But the winner was a very surprising Yoshi Tatsu in that matchup. But the most popular superstar in that match by miles was Santino Marella.
Yeah, he was, I guess, over as far as all those wrestlers were in there. And I was thinking, once that was done, was that a foreshadowing of maybe someone they may elevate in the next, 12 to 16 months or something like that? But it was good to get all of those wrestlers in the ring. It's a good start for everyone to get involved as far as fan-wise. And, Santino was over big time.
David Hero, your thoughts on that Battle Royal that opened up and kicked off WrestleMania?
I thought it was one of the more entertaining matches on the entire show.
And that's not saying much.
Santino doing the Cobra, doing the trumpet player, Chris Masters, Mark Henry. I mean, so many different personalities in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And the people were really into it.
It was just fun.
And then all of a sudden, Hornswoggle shows up, and in front of 70,000 people gives the tadpole splash.
Right, yeah. And it looked as if there was a little bit of a reuniting between he and Finlay.
Well, it is father and son,
Oh.
Why wouldn't they be reunited?
Well, it does feel so good.
But yeah, I cannot believe that Yoshi Tatsu won the Battle Royal.
Yes, it was shocking.
I don't know what sense it made, but I don't know if it needed to make any sense because it's not like the winner of that Battle Royal got anything down the road in particular.
What do you mean? They got the biggest payday.
No, I mean, it wasn't for like a title spot or anything like that. So the opening contest, though, was for the Tag Team Championship, the Unified Tag Team Championships, held by Showmiz, going up against John Morrison and Frank's new favorite person, R-Truth. Showmiz were able to retain in that contest. I believe Morrison's the one who got pinned in that matchup. And it was a good opening contest, a little short one that at the end of the day meant nothing, and at the same time, what really meant nothing was I still don't know if I fully understand the reasoning for the pairing between Morrison and R-Truth, which thus makes me not care as much about the match. Obviously, The Miz was in it, so it was one of the headlining matches on the card, but
I have a confession.
That's about it.
Oh, my goodness.
And I made this before we went on the air. I don't know if you were in the room, Damien. I don't think you were. But watching the show last night, obviously opening the show, the second show and Miz came out, Miz got over with me.
Well, he came to play.
He looked like he belonged. The new ring jacket. And, again, it's something I've always kind of noticed over, the last 10 years, 20 years, whatever it be. WrestleMania, I heard Ice-T and I heard
you said you had a revelation to make. That was a sound drop for a revelation.
Yeah.
Just keep talking.
Yeah.
Instead of drawing attention to it.
Are you done? Ice-T and, D'Lo Brown said, this is the pimp show. This is where we come out. We wear our best. Kennedy did it when he won his Money in the Bank match. He had a new ring gear on. Mysterio does it, new, special ring gear The Miz's ring gear. That is going to make, it's not obviously the most important thing, but that is just another piece of The Miz becoming relevant. That's another piece of The Miz becoming, the character that he was once. Man, Miz, I'm not saying I'm a Miz marquee because that's not me, but you know what? I like The Miz.
David Hero, your thoughts on the matchup between those two teams for the Unified Tag Team Championship?
Well, if you wouldn't have nudged me, I wouldn't have seen the finish. Kind of goes off a little bit there.
Well, keep in mind, though, during that match, we had the sun blazing right on our heads.
Yeah, that was cruel.
Yeah. They had to do it. We get it, but wow. Before the show goes on the air, they open the roof, and the sun is literally having a conversation with us.
And I'm not built for heat. It's like, come on, are you serious? But no, honestly, it was a match that was, for me, I could have cared less. All four guys are talented in their own right. Some are better at others, and whatnot. But as far as a tag team title match, just terrible.
Even worse, that's the first one in how many years now that the tag team belts have been defended on the show, not in a dark match?
That they have a match on Raw where they use it to establish Truth and Morrison as credible tag team that beat up Showmiz.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do a clean job at WrestleMania. Don't even make it a contest.
Right.
Poor booking.
Terrible.
The run sheet, I'm telling you, they had no clue what they were doing with that run sheet. The run sheet.
Oh. I was confused there, what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Kaz, your thoughts on the live experience of that matchup for the Unified Tag Team Championship?
It was okay. It kind of came out of nowhere, the finish. You literally, if you watched while you were blinded by the sun, it was all right. It wasn't great by any stretch. I thought it was short.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the match was way too short.
That was the thing that I noticed the most, but it was all right. It wasn't too bad.
And Meathead, your thoughts on the match from a video presentation?
The match was way too short. Again, I noticed more, and you heard me just explain what I had to confess about with The Miz. I noticed more at the entrance than the match. The match was just...
They had to give the time to the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah. I got you.
Everyone else lost.
You could have killed some of the time off.
Minutes.
You could have killed some of the minutes off of Brett and Vince. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, the match was nothing to me. I was more into the entrance.
Again, we're going to be answering the phone zone, getting your comments on WrestleMania 26, 276 ESPN 276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-3776. How about meeting Mean Gene Okerlund? Just last night.
That was amazing.
He was very interested in some things you're interested in, Frank.
Yes. Yes, he was.
Had some nice Pat Patterson humor as well.
He had some good words about Bob Uecker.
He did.
It was good.
No, let's face it. He almost had his tongue in your girlfriend's ear.
We ain't kidding you.
What can I do? I thought he was going to knock me out. He's like, stay away.
That was tremendous.
And here I got to assume Mean Gene's like, get out of here, Mean Gene.
No, Gene was a great guy.
Absolutely.
Had a great conversation with him, did we? Last night at just after WrestleMania. But the next matchup we're going to talk about at WrestleMania is indeed a triple threat match. It was the match where Legacy exploded, whatever you want to call it. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Jr. actually getting pinned by Orton in this matchup. Ted DiBiase getting pinned by Orton in the matchup.
You know what?
No.
You can say that all you want. That's fine. Go right ahead. I could really care less if who got pinned.
No. If you cared less, you wouldn't have said it as the match started. Oh, Cody's getting pinned in this one.
Well, no, because I heard a pin drop when they announced them. 70,000 people, and I heard a pin drop in section 405.
That is true. What had happened was there was a temporary outage in the sound system in the building, so they didn't hear, and it's a lot far away for a lot of people
they
to
couldn't
see.
tell by those brand new boots
he had the new
the
boots
ring
on, and it was just they thought it might have been one of the
Wait, so
somebody
you're saying
else.
they mic all the applause and the boos? What are you
No,
saying?
I'm saying when
because
they announced his name. When they announced his name, the fans didn't know it was him.
So the video was out too then, apparently.
Yeah, that went out too.
Yeah.
Yep. It was the Sun.
They gave all three guys their own entrance music.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and
yeah, they did.
You're right. I apologize.
DiBiase using Legacies, Cody using his original music, and Orton obviously using his music. This matchup was, again, what was the meaning for it? I don't get it. And to look at this matchup where...
The meaning was to make Randy Orton a true babyface.
He got a huge pop. He got an amazing reaction. I'm not sure how it played out on TV, but he was certainly the favorite in that matchup. But in this matchup, and talking about the tag team matchup, you've got two guys who were in main events last year at WrestleMania in the two opening contests. And I'm not sure if it matters being in the opening contest at the biggest show of the year. Simply being included is a privilege. But I think that's important to note that you had, again, two of the guys who were featured in main event matchups for championships last year opening up the show basically this year. But David Hero, your thoughts on that three-way dance where we saw Cody Rhodes take the boot to the head for some much-needed time off?
Right. Well, once again, I got to thank you again for nudging me to wake me up so I could see at least
that pin drop didn't do it? I thought the pin drop woke you up.
The pin drop startled me. Okay? I was a little startled by that. But, I mean, Randy wasn't a great match. It was a lot of clothesline, scoop, power slam, punch to the head.
You said that to Randy, didn't you?
I did. I said, man, I go, how was the match? Like, oh, bro, I worked hard. I'm like, yeah, a lot of clotheslines there tonight. he didn't find it very funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Of course you did.
And then he just looked at Frank like he wanted to beat him. So, but, you know what? The match served its purpose. It's a way of getting Cody off TV, thank God, for a little while. And,
what's your heat with Cody? I don't think you've ever articulated what your heat is with Cody.
No, I have no heat with him.
We know about your heat with the Pope. I know that.
I just don't think he's how did the Pope do tonight? I forgot. But
I stepped out during that matchup.
Focus.
But Cody he's not there yet.
No, he was there.
No, he's not there.
He made it.
Yeah, he made it. But he's not there. He's not a star yet. I mean, Ted DiBiase, I don't consider him a star yet either, but of the two, I think he has more potential.
Kaz, your thoughts on that triple threat match?
Predictable. It wasn't too bad, though. I think with the crowd getting way over on Randy Orton early made it work. So it wasn't too bad of a match, but it was predictable. And now we see what happens in the next few months with Mr. DiBiase and Rhodes probably off TV for a little bit.
And Meathead, the presentation on TV of that matchup.
Yeah, Orton, it came across. Orton was obviously the main face, the main name, and something I've been saying forever, that Randy Orton was never a true heel to begin with. So now it's cemented. It's absolutely solidly cemented tonight from Raw. Randy Orton is, as Dave Hero is trying to take credit for, a true face.
If that were the case, then you wouldn't have admitted that he was a true great heel at one time. Then went to not being a true heel. Did you say that it was always the case right now?
But when I had said that he wasn't a true heel, at that point he was already transitioning.
But you just said it was always the case.
No,
That's
I never
said
always the case.
Gentlemen, did he or did he not?
I'm not
always
going
the
into
case.
this again.
Whatever.
You said always the case.
I know you will
prove
start.
you don't even know what you say.
But I'm right. So that doesn't matter.
But you're not happy.
Oh, no, last night I was right and happy.
We're going to be happy
that
with...
match was, real quick, that match was another just, awful. I didn't like it.
We're going to talk to callers in Houston, Texas, Oklahoma, and Orlando, Florida when we come back in the phone zone on the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Vintage. That's the Sherry Martel version, the original Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels music.
God rest her soul.
I loved when he used to throw her down.
Huh, come on.
What? It was edgy. It was racist.
Who are you to say that after what you just said during a commercial break?
What did I say during the commercial break?
Nothing. Because we can't talk about it.
Well, then don't bring it up.
But I mean, you know I will. Who are you?
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and streaming all over the world at pwrshow.com and espnmilwaukee.com. We're live Monday night, March 29th, 2010, talking about WWE WrestleMania 26. And we've talked about a couple of matches. And I think the match we need to advance to before we enter the phone zone is the matchup, one of the marquee matchups of the night,
Sheamus?
Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon in a street fight, no-holds-barred kind of match. If you didn't see WrestleMania, here's what happened. Vince comes out and says that he has convinced the Hart family, all of them, including the Hart dynasty, to be his lumberjacks in the matchup, and that Bruce Hart would be the special guest referee. At that moment, it became so painfully obvious that they were going to turn and actually side with Bret because that made sense. They did do so, and the match happened. And at the end of that match, Bret Hart was the victor. Kaz, your thoughts on the live experience of that matchup, 13 years in the making.
And we want the edited version, not after the 3 shots of Rumpelman's version last night.
No. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And I thought for sure.
Was it drizzling?
It could have been. I thought for sure when it was going to be done the night before, I'm thinking maybe Vince can pull this off, and I'll be surprised. And it didn't happen. And I don't know what they were thinking. Obviously, you know what they were thinking. Okay, here, Bret, just beat the crap out of me for about 5 or 6 minutes, and we'll end it.
It wasn't Vince's fault. That was not Vince's fault at all. All he did is lay on the mat and just took chair shot, and crowbar shot, and everything else.
It was bad, and that was the worst of the night.
David Hero, your thoughts?
It was absolutely terrible. I mean, Bret Hart was better off staying retired than coming back for that, because that's how this whole generation of wrestling fans is going to remember him.
Well, were you disappointed? I was more disappointed. I'm like, come on. This was supposed to be a match where at the end of the show you're going to go, you know what? Wow. Vince, unbelievable. 6 years old doing this, unbelievable. And it was like,
how weird does that sound?
I know.
That you're saying Vince McMahon, not Bret Hart.
Yeah, it does sound weird. You're right. I was very disappointed on how that came about.
If you're Shawn Michaels, and yes, you know, they've buried the hatchet and whatnot, in the back of his mind, he's just smirking, knowing that at the same WrestleMania, his arch nemesis stunk up the place, and he's the guy that goes out to a standing ovation.
Mm-hmm. It was, I said going into it on the prediction show that we did that Vince McMahon, this would be entertaining. If nothing else, it would be entertaining.
Yeah.
It was not even that. It was a situation where it was a train wreck, you know. You wanted to watch it, you wanted to see what was going on, but you couldn't because it was that bad. And I don't know who's at fault. I think it became a mess once you got so many people involved. But it just was
The silver lining in the whole deal was the Hart dynasty getting involved.
Yeah. Which we saw the fruits of that tonight as they got a tag team matchup against the tag team champions, which clearly that's going to go forward in a good direction. And you know what?
They almost didn't make it to WrestleMania.
Me?
Because of Damian Nelson. You know?
True.
You were pure evil. You know that?
Meathead, how did that come off on TV? Bret versus Vince.
I went and took a shower. I seriously watched it, and I said, I can't believe that. Dude, I got something to do.
So you see Bret and Vince, and that
makes
you want to take
go
a shower.
Take a shower. Yeah, whatever. That's it. No, I'm seriously this. You know, I could use the phrase bathroom break or whatever you want to use, but I went up and
but
did something
shower.
It doesn't make a difference what I said.
So you didn't see the match?
I saw it in fast forward, honestly, 2 times speed.
When you don't pay for the pay-per-views,
no,
you can't afford to do that kind of stuff.
I do pay for the pay-per-views. I'm waiting for you to come up with something new. That's really what I want.
It was a letdown, and I'm not sure what the expectation level was, but again, everybody knew going into this that Bret was a bit limited. I mean, the man suffered from a lot of health ailments, and he's got that insurance thing to worry about.
Wait a minute. we all saw his girlfriend. There is nothing limited about Bret Hart right now.
That's a good point.
Everybody can buy the fanciest wrapping for a present. It doesn't make it a good gift.
Oh,
no.
That's a gift.
Yeah, we shook it.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phone zone.
You shook Bret Hart's gift? What's wrong with you?
Let's go to it was a figure of speech. Let's go to the phone zone down
like
in Houston, Texas, the site of last year's WrestleMania. James, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm glad y'all guys made it back to Milwaukee in one piece.
We did.
As for WrestleMania, it was a very lackluster show. I mean, out of a letter grade, I give it about a C, C minus. HBK Taker single-handedly saved that show, and I'm pretty hot right now because we paid $55 and our feed went out for 2 matches.
Whoa.
Yeah, it went out during the end of Orton, the triple threat match, and it went out during the entire Money in the Bank.
You're in Houston, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like you need a good cable technician.
No, it was DirecTV. So I don't
even worse. That's your problem. You shouldn't have DirecTV. Just kidding.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with DirecTV. Other than that, another question I want to ask you guys is there was a list that came out with 12 cities that were bidding for WrestleManias between 28 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on which cities you think should host WrestleMania?
Las Vegas, Las Vegas, Las Vegas, Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Well, that's just for Damien.
Wow. I would never.
It's just easier that
we
way.
would never find you in Las Vegas.
You wouldn't. I'll admit that right now. You would not.
And then one more thing. My friend is gonna kill me. Her name is April. Her Twitter name is April Orton _SES. She wanted me to tell y'all hello, and she loves the show.
And David here.
Well, who doesn't?
I
mean, come
Thank
on.
you so
Thank you so much for calling in, talking about WrestleMania.
Hey, listen to the TRL. What's up with the shout-out?
Well, we do have the windows here now, so, right on our Wisconsin Avenue studios.
Hey, real quick, you think they'll be at larger arenas from now on?
They should scale back.
Really?
Yeah, it needs to be a little more intimate. I mean, this show
it's about money, though.
It was your first domed wrestling show, by the way.
Right, we had great seats, but we were still pretty far away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about money. And that's what their business model is.
No. They want to. It's about money, yeah. And they made about $5.8 million on ticket sales, but it's the spectacle, and you can have a much larger spectacle if you go somewhere that isn't traditionally host to wrestling. However,
they papered the heck out of that building,
and there was so a substantial number of empty seats. Granted, you can't sneeze at 72,000 people. However, they got them there. Mm-hmm. That doesn't matter.
Make a difference, right?
But there were a good number of empty seats. But they have millions of dollars in production costs that gets tied up in these larger venues. So they did do a run of several years to build up that demand, and doing it in the smaller venues, the smaller arenas, which, as it says, builds up that demand because you can't get a ticket, and then you go to the larger one once it becomes available.
The last small one they did was Chicago, because then they went to Detroit, they went to Orlando, Houston, Phoenix, Atlanta next year. I think they should keep doing the stadium shows. You got to offer other people the chance to go to a WrestleMania, have that once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Anybody can
go. When it's a 20,000-seat arena, it's people from across the world are trying to go to this one show, so it's a little more difficult. You offer a chance for somebody like Frank Costantino to get to the show because it's at a big stadium.
Let's go to Glenn in Orlando, Florida. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey, Glenn.
Before I start, I want to comment. If they do go to small venues, why not go back to WrestleMania 2 and have 3 WrestleManias back-to-back at different venues? Also, I want to comment on HBK and Taker. That match should have been a lot better. I was hoping that they were going to do a flashback of 2003 where Shawn Michaels superkicked Triple H, and then the match was ended as Triple H won when Michaels' shoulders were also on the ground. It would have been just nice to see Michaels have that moment of you think he beat the streak and then have the match restarted. The Money in the Bank it did not live up to expectation. They should have done so much more. I know it's PG, but you got to do something with the Money in the Bank.
Okay. Glenn, 3 very good questions.
Comments, yeah.
They'll never do 3 venues.
No, they won't do that. That's too much of a
logistic
nightmare.
Yeah.
Cool
Right.
concept, but and as far as Money in the Bank, several reasons for that. When we get to that match, we'll tell you about them. And Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker was. Here's the problem.
Right.
Everybody's going to compare it to last year, and every match that Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair had wasn't compared to each other. Yet they were all, they were great matches.
Good.
So that one, it certainly was not a bad match at all. But I fear, and from what I've heard, a lot of people are saying that actually it wasn't a good match, which I'm shocked by. But thanks for that call, Glenn, in Orlando, Florida. The conversation continues in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com. Again, that's pwrshow.com. And when we come back, we're going to be taking more of your phone calls at 276-ESPN or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks. You see, KYJ, things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this. You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Pro Wrestling Report. We're live Monday, March 29th, 2010, talking about WrestleMania 26 just last night in Phoenix, Arizona. Myself, David Hero, and the Cos were there at the event live, and we are taking your phone calls, talking to us about your thoughts on WrestleMania 26. And as we said during the timeout, the conversation continues in the chatmosphere, and a user in the chatmosphere by the name of Phenom8809 says, I also thought the finish to the Taker-HBK match was booked to perfection and don't see how anyone could have a problem with it. Reference our last caller who called just before that timeout. Everybody's got a different opinion on that, and, they're entitled to it. So let's continue talking about WrestleMania 26, and I think the next match worth talking about was the Divas matchup. Because there was a high spot in there.
She didn't get that high.
You know what? I thought the match, the ending of it, was very well done.
It was heartwarming because...
Well, it's about Eddie. It's about a woman who lost her husband several years ago, and then in order to put food on her family's table, because they lost a lot of money, when Eddie went through all of his demons and whatnot.
Sure.
She goes out there and embarrasses herself on a weekly basis. She's called names. She's called the pig, the hog, whatever you want to call it, but she still goes out there for her kids because it gives her the opportunity to be home during the week and then, make some money, 1 or 2 nights a week. And when she went to the top rope, everyone you figured was going to start to boo her until she pointed to the sky and she, took her fist and, hit her heart. It's like, how now can you boo this woman?
Exactly.
Who is putting herself out there, And I thought it was very, very well done. In the beginning, I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to be terrible. This match is going to suck.
And the match did suck. It was just that spot.
It did suck, but I would hope that most people, when they think of that Divas match, they think of Vicky Guerrero doing her best tribute to her husband, which she never really has had the chance to do yet.
She's never been able to do it at all on camera.
So
ever.
she finally was able to pay tribute to him. And let's not forget, they live in Phoenix. That's where the Guerreros live right now. And,
They spent a lot of time down there, too, because if you think back to Confidential that used to air on Saturday nights, when they did a lot of stories with Vicky or Eddie, and his family before we knew of who Vicky was, that's where it came from.
Yeah. So, for me, as much as, a lot of fans were not pleased with it, God bless Vicky Guerrero for going out there and just taking a chance and paying tribute to her husband.
I had the opportunity to speak to Vicky Friday night, I believe it was.
Saturday morning, Friday night.
Yeah, very, very nice lady, by the way, and she was giddy about the matchup. And I think it was just announced last week that the match would happen, but she was actually giddy while talking about it and really was excited to go in. Didn't know at the time, of course, what was going to happen. She did, of course, but I didn't.
Because you refused to look at the run sheet.
Absolutely. I got enough heat on me already. I'm not going to let you bring me down any further. All right? But she was giddy about it, and obviously to be able to do something so special to her on the biggest show of the year was a good thing for her. Let's continue talking in the chatmosphere, and I'm sorry, in the phone zone, and let's go to Matt in Oklahoma, who has been holding very patiently, who wants to talk about the Bret Hart-Vince McMahon match. Matt, you are live.
Hey, what's up, guys? First of all, you guys put on a great show every week, and I got to say that Vince McMahon, Bret Hart match, that was brutal to watch. I even started feeling sorry for Vince McMahon after like 7 or 8 minutes into that.
Yeah, it was. I was waiting for Vince to get up and do something, and when it didn't happen, I was disappointed. And if there's somebody out there that enjoyed it, please let us know. But man, it was tough to watch.
Well, it was definitely brutal, and it kind of makes me think of the Shawn Vince match. I think it was WrestleMania 22. And thank you for the call. But at least with Shawn was playing with the crowd, having a good time. Shawn was able to work. All they did was just feed on Vince, and Vince just laid there. And it was slow and just painful.
What they should have done is they should have started the match with the fans really believing that the Hearts sold out.
Right, exactly.
And then do the swerve towards the end. Don't do the swerve before the match starts. I think that ruined all the momentum.
They didn't even do the swerve before the match started. There was no swerve. I mean, Vince said, I bought him. They didn't do anything.
Well, there was a swerve because then they cashed the checks and, they sided them with Bret.
Yeah. Oh.
Thank you for that call, Matt, down in Oklahoma. Let's go to Matt on the north side. Matt wants to talk about WrestleMania. Matt, you're live.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Matt.
I think I watch WrestleMania, and I think WWE's got a serious problem with booking. It's too predictable. I watched TNA tonight. I knew what was going to happen. I read it online, and I still watch TNA just because, I don't know, I just did. WrestleMania was so, I predicted every match except for the Divas match, all the winners.
You got the Money in the Bank one too?
Yes. Jack Swagger, I think, is the best up-and-coming superstar in WWE.
There you go.
All-American. They should ride that.
American.
All-American. He's got the best intro, the best in-ring. I love his lisp. I think him and Christian's sucker and succotash was the best angle they had going for a while. I don't know. I think WWE has got to watch out for their booking. It's just not working. It's too predictable. They got too many things going on.
But the problem is, though, that, Matt, remember, they're not booking for, and I'm not sure how old you are. You don't have to tell us. But
I'm 34.
Okay, they're not booking for 34-year-olds.
I know.
When I said you didn't have to tell us, it's okay. But they're not booking for 34-year-olds. They're booking for the kids, the families.
Hey, and my kid, I watched it with my kid last night in WrestleMania. He was more heartbroken that Shawn Michaels lost than I was. I was cheering for The Undertaker.
Well,
but
the challenge
after tonight, after TNA ended, I watched Raw and Shawn Michaels leave. And I saw Shawn Michaels when I was in 6th grade at Brown Deer High School for the AWA. And that made me realize the respect I have for him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Their booking it's redundant. They need to do something different, and they need to ride Jack. I thought they failed on CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, John Morrison. They're failing on young talent that they need to push, and they don't do it.
All right. Well, thank you for that call, Matt. I think one of the challenges that WWE has, to Matt's point, is look at their top talents. Look at their big names. These are people who have been around for a while. And we've talked about them building young stars. They've given a lot of people a lot of chances, and they're still working on a lot of people. But, Batista's next. He ain't going to be around much longer. Undertaker's got to be – the clock has got to be ticking on how much longer he's going to perform on a regular basis. And keep in mind, the regular basis for him is probably on average 6 months out of the year.
And we heard Batista might be gone by SummerSlam.
Absolutely. Well, remember, he said – few months ago that he did not see himself doing this longer than 12 months from that point.
And what's the story with Taker's knee, too? Was that a work in the match, or was that really,
he's really beat up.
Yeah, because he looked hurt. I mean, real
he
hurt.
He walked hurt.
Yeah.
There are a lot more people in that locker room, and quite frankly, in both organizations' locker rooms, who are in pretty rough shape that you don't know about.
Which makes sense to the call, Matt, I believe it was, pushing the younger talent if they can. But out of that 70,000 people there yesterday, 5,000 to 10,000 Cena shirts, at least,
on so many more adults than I've ever seen. By the way,
yes, that was amazing.
So many more adults, and I don't own anything orange. I don't think.
And where can you? Well, I do. Where can you buy one of those Cena Hater Club T-shirts that were prominently displayed at the end of the match?
Huh?
Those were not at the merchandise table.
Really? They weren't at the gimmick table?
They certainly weren't hating them when they were
getting on camera time. Yeah, mugging. Yeah.
Indeed. We still got CJ in Virginia, Rob in New Jersey, Ken on the south side of Milwaukee waiting on hold. The conversation continues in the atmosphere, PWRshow.com. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Follow 540 ESPN on Twitter. That's twitter.com/ESPN Milwaukee.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're live Monday, March 29, 2010. Talking about WrestleMania 26. So many matches still to get to. Rowdy Piper and the Legends, including Nick Bockwinkel on WWE Raw tonight in a Legends Lumberjack match where the only purpose was really to, I guess, push Ted DiBiase further in that heel direction, as he was not very friendly with his Hall of Fame dad, Ted DiBiase Sr.
Nick Bockwinkel looked great.
Yes, he did. It's that Vegas air.
Probably. That was cool to see him, and you're right. They're trying to push that DiBiase heel thing. It
was good. It was well done.
And you can also see Roddy Piper in a few weeks here in Milwaukee, by the way.
Wait, what are you saying?
The timing worked
Roddy
out.
Piper. He was one of the Lumberjacks tonight. BlizzardBrawl.com information. April 16th and 17th.
It's a big weekend. Attitude, and then hell will freeze over.
Humendous weekend.
Humendous.
The Money in the Bank.
Something new, right?
The Money in the Bank ladder match. 10 participants this year. Total train wreck possibility. However, I thought it delivered a very entertaining matchup. However, it was below the level and below the bar that they've set for themselves in that matchup prior years. No, I'm not saying just because there was no blood, but there were things such as, where was the Shelton Benjamin high spot of the night? It didn't exist.
Who has been referred to as the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Of the WWE.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Good match. Good match, actually. I think this one's going to be one that for sure would be better on TV or better on the video version, because there's so much that was happening that was difficult to follow from being inside the venue. But, Meathead, your thoughts on how that transpired on television. Money in the Bank, where Dolph Ziggler will get his shot at a belt.
No. Jack Swagger.
Oh, Jack Swagger. I said Ziggler, didn't I?
You did. You got a Ziggler on the brain.
Anyway, I was excited. I was excited to see the pay-per-view, and I was excited to see this match in particular. And with the exception of Kofi missing it, man, I was scared for him, because when he ran up the ladder in the corner, he slipped and fell inside the ladder. I don't know if you guys caught that, but recovered well enough. The only thing that I have a problem with is it's a 10-man match. So when they do because they paced it out real nice, where they had, a couple guys in, a couple guys out, a couple guys in, a couple guys out, and then the spots, some of those spots were too long. So that means the guys have to lay out on the floor for a good 5 minutes waiting for their turn to jump in.
But a lot of the guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for fans, though, it just doesn't make any sense. Overall, it wasn't the best Money in the Bank, but I was excited and I was happy.
Two things I liked. First, the ending. Didn't see it happening. I had no clue that Jack Swagger was going to win.
You sure? I mean, it took about 5 minutes.
Well,
he was grabbing the suitcase.
It took forever. I was like, they're going to help me.
Wait, but here's the thing, though.
What you guys don't know is, commentary-wise, Stryker yelling, "You got to unhook it! Just spin the thing and unhook it, man!"
Here's my TNA mark-out moment of the week. Remember when the X fell in an X Division matchup, and TNA was called Bush League, and how could they not secure that better, and blah, 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 blah? He couldn't get the case down.
To
me, it's the same thing.
The other thing, you look for something new in something like this, the stilts.
Yeah.
That was different. I'm like,
totally impractical, but
it didn't make
funny.
Any sense. I'm like, good. It's different. Because what else can you do with ladders?
Right.
I mean, there's something new.
It was goofy.
It was.
Which made it good.
That's what I enjoyed about it. It was a pretty good match. Love the surprise. At least to me, it was a surprise. Swagger winning it.
Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk, a 6-minute and 30-second matchup, which many said was on its way to being one of the better matches on the card. CM Punk not able to get the win over Rey Mysterio in that matchup. David Hero, your thoughts?
Very disappointed. I think that the Straight Edge Society needed a victory at WrestleMania over Rey Mysterio to bring him into the group, just so that they could have more steam going forward. CM Punk has yet to win a big match in any Straight Edge Society.
Did you see Avatar?
Yes.
Okay. Kaz, your thoughts on that matchup, Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk? Rey was the Joker last year. This year he was the blue guy from Avatar.
I thought he was Max Moon.
It was a good match. I thought this was another one where I was surprised by the outcome. But I don't. Maybe this was the reason. There was a very heavy Latino crowd there.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking, boy, you don't want them,
to riot.
Make them
Whoa!
not to riot.
Whoa!
But just to have them go home happy.
Whoa!
What?
You're saying that all Latinos riot?
Not at all, but it could happen. There could be a riot. Please. How many times have you seen a boxing match and there's a riot in the stands when things don't go a certain way?
Because the boxing matches have all Latinos in it?
It could be any group of whatever.
This needs to stop. Kaz.
Wow. All the hate in this room.
The point I was...
Rashi just walked in. There's an unbeloved in this room.
Thanks for waking up and joining us.
Listen to you. I bet he watched wrestling tonight.
Oh, I did? If you're going to speak into the mic.
I actually watched wrestling tonight.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. I got
you. I also did stuff with my weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I did stuff too.
Kaz, I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, just to finish it up, I was surprised by that ending, but I think that he does join Straight Edge Society at some point in the next week or two. Otherwise,
well, Extreme Rules is coming up in a few weeks.
I think that's got to be part. Why start that storyline and not have
They're going to do head versus mask match eventually.
Yeah.
So they're going to shave.
So there's something else added to this. That just can't end last night. I think they did that to make the fans go home happy in that.
But they didn't go home after that match.
No, they didn't. But the fans that were there just to see.
I think your original reasoning is dead on. Because after the match, I had some time to think about it. I'm like, yep, they're in Phoenix.
Yes, they are.
Fail. And you know what? There was one thing that actually bothered me about.
How is that a fail?
I don't want to talk about it. Jamie told me not to talk about it.
Then don't say fail.
The entrance. I don't know if you guys noticed that Ray was a little slow coming out. Like
he never came out.
Yeah, that's
the elevator failed. Yeah, he split out.
Well, the elevator. He said he didn't like doing that anyway, so it just.
Max Moon went over. That's all that matters.
Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go out to Rob in New Jersey, who wants to talk a little bit about Shawn Michaels. Rob, you're live.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Hey.
How much, Rob?
Hey, as JR would say, how was the groceries down at Baby Steak and Lemonade?
Tremendous groceries.
Man, I tell you, I ate there multiple times every day. Never got sick of it. And I ain't just putting the place over. Seriously. Went in there the first day when got into town on Wednesday. Had the crispy sandwich, which Armando talks about in the video. You could find it at pwrshow.com, the Philly steak sandwich, and said, damn, this is some good food. There was garlic.
Got some Ron Simmons up in there. Damn.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was that good. And quite frankly, I didn't know what to expect, and I certainly didn't expect it to be bad, but it was tremendous food down there. And they were very hospitable towards the Pro Wrestling Report.
Well, I want to talk to you guys about Shawn Michaels real quick. Obviously, you saw what happened on Raw and what happened last night. Let me tell you, I was over at Hooters in Wayne, New Jersey, and the place there was packed. Everybody was crying. It was just a fun time. And my question is for you is he going to honor his word to The Undertaker, to his family, to the company, just like, how, like, Ric Flair, he returned to TNA and, like, blah, 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 telling him that, like, he's going to retire for good, but then all of a sudden he comes back and he has, like, another match. So is this going to be his final word, and is he going to be truthful about his word?
You know what's a shame is that if it wasn't for Ric Flair, people would not be saying if Shawn Michaels going to honor his word.
Yeah. Rick wasn't the first to do it, though. Rick just got an amazing send-off.
How many times does that happen, though?
It's wrestling. It happens.
No. Where someone kind of retires at the end of a show.
When I retired, I haven't got back in the ring since.
I mean, Mick Foley, how many times has he retired? No one complains about Mick Foley. You know, Hulk Hogan, he's retired.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, come on. You know what, Shawn Michaels, let him enjoy this moment. Let him enjoy the send-off. He's not coming back anytime soon. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame anymore. He wants to be a family guy.
Well, yeah.
Not Peter Griffin, but...
Thank you for that call, Rob, out in New Jersey. And let's go to another call. Ken on the south side of Milwaukee. You're live. All right. Well, we'll get to Ken in a minute. In the meantime, let's continue talking about WrestleMania 26. Triple H versus Sheamus, a match where Sheamus showed up and proved his place, I think, as far as a top talent in WWE. Meathead, your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, I 100% agree with you. Sheamus actually didn't get crushed. He didn't, you know, Triple H, the Ultimate Warrior, get crushed. But there was no way that Trips was losing it. There was absolutely no way. Because why would you have Sheamus go over on WrestleMania? Triple H has got to carry the company to the next night. Sheamus, all he needed to be
but they need Sheamus tonight.
All he needed to be was in that match, physically in that match.
But for him to get a win over Triple H at WrestleMania kind of elevates him that much more.
He's been elevated by being in that match physically. By going toe-to-toe with the game, he was elevated just by doing that.
I was happy Sheamus showed up. I was happy that he put in, you know, some good work. You know, that way the rest of you peoples out there who've been hating on him for forever.
I don't hate on him. I just think he's more transparent than Casper the Friendly Ghost.
That's why they had to close the roof.
Literally, they did close the roof during
his match.
Kaz, your thoughts on that contest? Triple H and Sheamus.
Good match. Well done by both guys, and I was pleased by the outcome. Was good. Not much to add from what you guys did.
You were just too busy googly the whole time you were at WrestleMania anyhow.
Googly?
Googly.
Are you Eddie Murphy now?
Absolutely.
Great googly.
You were googly with Mean Gene?
Let's go to the phone zone. CJ in Virginia. You're live.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, CJ.
Yeah, but okay, so WrestleMania was pretty good. I thought it was a decent card. It wasn't really lackluster like some of the other callers said, because we all know what a lackluster WrestleMania was, and that was 11. Good God, that was an awful WrestleMania. So anyway.
11? Yeah, that was. There are so many reasons why that was a bad one.
Oh yeah, by far. But you know, the Money in the Bank was pretty good. The Evan Bourne spot, I truly love the shooting star press and whatnot. But the HBK Undertaker match, it delivered like always, like last year's, and his send-off tonight was it was pretty memorable. I don't really think that he will come out of retirement per se, but you never know. You know, never say never in the wrestling business. But other than that, I think it was pretty good. And I do have to agree with Damien on one thing, on a little bit of a side note. WrestleMania should be in Vegas.
Oh yeah,
trust me on that. It should be definitely in Vegas.
Yep. Well, thanks.
We'll get no work done that.
We're getting work done this weekend. Thank you for CJ out in Virginia for calling in here on the Pro Wrestling Report. If you want to be a part of the phone zone, the number 276-3776 or 1-800-990-3776. Let's talk about one of two championship matchups, and that would be Chris Jericho versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho able to retain his title in that matchup.
Not surprising. He had to beat Edge.
Had to?
He had to.
Why'd he have to?
That's his first quality, actually, WrestleMania win.
Well, he's been the MVP of the company for the past year.
No pun intended.
And, you know, why put the belt on Edge right away? Make him earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho has done so much so far. You know, let him enjoy it. I mean, I'm glad Jericho did win.
And you see it carry over as well.
Well, it carried over into the Cause having a victory shot with him that night after the show.
Yeah, Frank Cosentino.
Did you see the picture of Frank with Chris Jericho?
I've seen it. Yeah. Frank, I don't like you very much right now.
He took a picture with a dude. What are you jealous of?
You take a picture with a lot of dudes. I've seen you do it. Frank, this is where you speak. Go ahead, Frank.
I don't know where to go with this.
What picture of dudes did I tweet lately?
Anyways,
thanks for speaking, Frank.
Yeah, Chris Jericho retains the championship. You know, I thought it was a good match, though. I'm not sure if it had as much time as it could have had to be as good as it could have been, But it was a good match. Certainly not a bad outing for those two at WrestleMania 26. John Cena versus Batista. Batista is no longer the WWE champion, and John Cena had what probably will go down as one of the most bizarre entrance sequences in WrestleMania history. I didn't get it. It was like 3 different segments that were just sort of put together
tap dancing
to bring them down. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. We get it. Okay, you're the Marine. Super great. But why? It was cool. And I ain't knocking the guys that did it. Let's get that straight. But it just didn't make any sense. It didn't come together.
Yeah, it doesn't coordinate at all.
No, they coordinated really well because that was pretty outstanding
to
watch
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Well, you were clapping when they were done, Frank.
I was.
You stood up and did a golf clap.
He was clapping after he was tapping.
Uh-huh. Whoa.
Let's go to Moses
Frank.
out in Queens, who actually wants to talk a little bit about tonight's Raw. Moses, you're live.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you?
Tremendous.
Awesome. Yeah, you know what? For a change, I actually did not watch Impact that much. I watched, a couple things here and there, but I was actually watching Raw tonight, and
Raw was the show to watch tonight.
Yeah, it was, and honestly, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. The Shawn Michaels segment it blew me away, and as a matter of fact, I was surprised that Raw finished after Impact did, it's usually the other way around. And last week, it was pretty much neck and neck, but it meant a lot. And it was crazy. But my question is actually, I don't know if Rashi Brown's there, but what should an individual look for when he's actually looking to enter a wrestling?
You know what? Why don't you repeat that question one more time for the Skull Crusher?
Yeah, no problem. What should an individual look for when he's looking to enter a legit wrestling school? Is it the trainer? Is it the amount of pupils that have gone to the other shows? I mean, what should one look for?
I'd say most important, the trainer's reputation. If it's some scumbag promoter or indie wrestler that was trained by nobody that wants to train you, I mean, come on.
That tells people they run a whole state.
Right, but if it's a reputable trainer that there's a few guys out there that work for him and they're wrestling regularly on the independent circuit or even made it to TNA or Ring of Honor or WWE, I think that'd be the way to go. But I think you should just look around and more of word of mouth and reputation, not the amount of guys that are in a camp, because anybody can scam 30 guys.
Repeatedly.
Yeah, and the cycle never ends.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you for that call, Moses. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, it's going to be we're going to talk to Rashi about his Ring of Honor events this past weekend in Phoenix, Arizona. First time in Phoenix for Ring of Honor, and so much more. We still have to talk about the matchup between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker from last night's WrestleMania. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. What's the significance of this song? We hear it so often here on the program.
Don't go messing with a country boy. David, the hero, or Octavius, thinks this is going to be my first song.
No, he's right.
No, he's not.
No, well, okay, it won't be the first song between you and your wife, but this is going to be like the wedding march, isn't it? Or not so much.
Listen here, fish boy.
Dave, quickly, it's the weekly joke. Quick,
get
your seat.
Swimming downstream pretty soon to keep it up.
This is the one running things around here. I'm not sure you can be sending such idle threats out there.
They're not idle.
Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report. Back to the Pro Wrestling Report. We're going to continue in the phone zone, and let's go out to Cuddy. Terry, you're live.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Not much. How are you tonight?
Pretty irritated. I paid $54 to watch Bret Hart sit on his butt in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
Worst you've ever seen?
The worst.
What did you expect out of that contest?
I don't know, something more entertaining. You would have thought they would have had the Hart Dynasty carry most of the work or something to make that match
They did.
good.
I would have 5 minutes. And I'm wondering if you thought the same thing that I did. I would have thought there might have been at least a give and take. Some interactions, not a one-sided match, the entire match.
And, that thing is, I hate to talk bad about Bret Hart, but his stroke really showed yesterday. I mean, when he was making the kicks, he could barely lift his legs.
Yeah.
His punches, it was just...
That was the most striking thing of the match, is can't fault Brett. He performed. He did what he could.
You can't fault Brett, but, truly, Brett did screw himself last night because he really hurt his legacy on that one. Because a lot of people are going to look back at that match and just say, why did you come back? And you got to wonder if Vince and Sean had something to do with that, too. I mean, there's Sean's send-off, and his arch-rival has just an embarrassment out there.
Yeah, not at all. There's too much money involved for that match to look that bad. Yep.
I think the match, here's the thing, I don't think it lived up to the hype surrounding it, the hype that WWE generated surrounding it. It was an important match. It was a special match, and thank you for that call-out and Cudahy. But, it was pushed heavily, and it just did not deliver to the hype
it was
that it was
a
set up
headlining main event.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are people that bought the pay-per-view for that match. And like I tweeted last night, I said, when do I get my refund?
Rasha, you disagree?
If you bought a pay-per-view
there are people
for one match, I'm not giving anybody $50 to see 1/12 of anything, or how many ever matches there were. So if you bought that pay-per-view for that one match, that's your fault.
Okay, you're pointing at me like I did it. I'm just
knowing
saying.
the two people involved are in their early 50s and early 60s.
They're ready for the AARP.
And one was never really a wrestler. The other one's had a stroke. His knees are
That's
shot.
how Bret Hart now spells the sharpshooter, just so you know.
I mean, what did you expect, honestly?
Bowman in Boston. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report. Hello, Bowman.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Bowman?
Where have you been, Bowman?
I've been around. I've been here. I've called in every week.
Yeah, we've heard you've been around.
What do you have for us this week, sir?
I want to get into a few things now. I normally was going to use this time to bury Michael Cole, but I'm going to save that for another time.
How did you do last night?
Let's just not talk about it.
All right.
Anyway, want to talk about I think the overall show was pretty good. I liked a lot of that. I liked a lot of it. There were some duds in it. Damian, we've been proven right. Bret Hart, still pure evil. He won't even give us a good match.
Well, wait a minute. Bret Hart isn't that pure evil anymore. Not only did Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart bury the hatchet, but was it last night?
It was last night.
It was last night. Damian Nelson and Bret Hart buried the hatchet and actually hugged and posed for a picture together.
I'm not buying it.
I swear.
It didn't happen.
If you can go to Damian's Facebook page, it's on there. Damian and the Hitman.
I'll check it out. I was really happy that Jericho won. He deserved it completely. I was really happy that he won that match. I liked what happened between Batista and John Cena and what I was talking about last week in reference to intensity in the match. And then the second they got intense, the entire crowd was in it. I think that was the only time I saw the crowd really into the distinct of the match outside of Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
The biggest crowd reactions last night were certainly that for Santino during the Battle Royal, for Randy Orton, I would say, for John Cena, and for Batista, actually. Well, Taker and Shawn, obviously.
Well, they were on their
aside from
feet
that,
for Money in the Bank for a little bit, too, there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I wanted to reference what was that whole bit with Cena. I used to be in ROTC, and what they were doing in the beginning with Trip Drill. I was excited to see that, but now a lot of people understand kind of how that goes along, so it looks kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it was.
I have nothing against the Drill Squad at all. I just want to know where.
I want to hear what you're going for.
I have no problem with the Drill Squad. I just want to know what it means to Cena.
Well, the reason they were doing it there is because Phoenix has a large Air Force base, is where everybody gets this. I think that's where the one of the Air Academies are, and so it kind of makes sense that they're doing it in there. That's kind of the big thing that's there. Isn't there's a large Air Force base there? And last thing I want to get on is between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and a lot of people saying it's not a very good match. Where people show how long have they not been watching wrestling if they say this match was not good? These men told a great story last night. This is a completely different match than what they had at WrestleMania 25, under different circumstances and a different story told. And to say that this is completely bad, to me, this proves that you've probably started watching wrestling at the Attitude Era and you didn't really learn how everything goes.
As David Harrell said earlier, the ending to that match Shawn making Undertaker do it was spectacular. And some say it was a little bit of a knock on the not a knock, but a little bit of a play off the whole Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels thing from WrestleMania 24. Who cares? It made sense. And you see that extra oomph the Undertaker gave to that tombstone. Again, it was those little things, those little details at the end of the match, and the near falls in the match. Shawn could have won it. Anybody could have won that matchup. It was a good professional wrestling exhibition that told a tremendous story. And that's what's lacking a lot of times right now, which is why a lot of fans can't appreciate it. It told an amazing story to that matchup. Let's go to our final caller of the evening, Deshaun in Georgia. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Hey, Deshaun.
Tremendous.
What's up?
Hey, it's not really a question. It's more of a comment on my opinion. I think wrestling fans might have got spoiled by the Attitude Era. Because I had a bunch of people here yesterday for my WrestleMania party who could care two licks about wrestling, and I'm telling they would, enjoy the show. I think people should just look at wrestling as wrestling. Stop being critics. That's all I wanted to say. Just enjoy it for what it is, because not everybody can do it.
No.
Stop having all these opinions.
Yeah, that's well played.
It's part of our long-standing rule in this program that you can never say a wrestler sucks, because you have to appreciate.
Cody Rhodes sucks.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Hero.
You broke a rule. Find me, damn it. Uh-huh. Sorry, I just had to do it.
Rashi, as a professional wrestler, his statement, what does that do to you?
He didn't say it was me, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it was one of your brethren.
Honestly, I wouldn't. If it was absolutely true, I would say it. Now, for someone to
it's
make
the word suck.
But some of those guys absolutely suck. They don't deserve to be in the ring.
Yeah, and there are people that are in that position, but it's not for me to say they suck if they're drawing a paycheck from somewhere that I'm not, and they're making twice the money. I mean, they may not be as good as me or good as someone I think, but it's hard to just say they suck. But there are people that do, but it's just not my position to say it publicly.
All right. Well, Deshaun, thank you for making that call. You need to retract that.
No,
really? I take offense to it.
But here's the deal with life.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you do not retract what you mean. If that's his opinion, that's his opinion.
And we're all entitled to our opinions on this show, but it's been a long-standing rule that we do not say a wrestler sucks.
That's what it is.
I am exhausted right now. I'm irritable.
Okay, so when he was in the Battle Royal 12 years ago, he absolutely sucked.
I was the Drizzlings. I was terrible.
Yeah.
You said 12 minutes ago?
12 years ago.
Oh.
Hey,
I just haven't thought about the word suck. For all these people put in.
Cody Rhodes is not good. Is that better?
Nothing bigger.
Hold on. Wait. And you know what? It wasn't just me. We talked to a lot of people this weekend, and they all said the same thing. If it wasn't for his daddy-o, Cody Rhodes would not be on Raw right now.
Did you take a poll? I mean, why did this come about? Because
Dave kept bringing it up.
I kept bringing it up.
What did you call him before? He's a heat machine.
No.
That's what Dave Hero does.
I like to research my topic.
No, it's what Dave Hero does.
If he's just feeling the pulse of the community, brother, that's what they're telling him. That's what they're telling him.
Absolutely. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. And so far, I have yet to be proven wrong.
If Dave was wrong, he wouldn't have even brought it up.
Absolutely.
Nothing bigger, nothing more spectacular, and nothing can compare to WrestleMania. If you missed John Cena, Triple H, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and all your favorite WWE superstars carve out a place in history at this legendary event, you still have time to catch the replay. Contact your local pay-per-view provider today to find out how you can catch the replay of WrestleMania. Go to WrestleMania.com for details, and as a matter of fact, caller number 5 right now will win their very own copy of WrestleMania 25, the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. Local callers from the southeastern Wisconsin area who can come to the station and pick it up right now, 276-ESPN, 276-3776. And when we come back, we're going to finish up talking about WrestleMania 26 here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson, David Hero, the Skull Crusher, Rashi Brown, and the man they call Meathead here live Monday, March 29th. And congratulations go out to Justin from out in Cudahy who won those baby. That song was, okay, I'm a Bee and Baby. The songs I, quite frankly, hadn't heard before.
And Lady Gaga.
Every other song out in Phoenix.
You know, I hop on the plane, you know, my Air Trans flight coming back.
Did the plane go to one side when you
hopped on? No,
wow.
No, actually, it was very well balanced, to be quite honest. But I get in my seat, I get comfy, and I plug in my headset so I can, you know, listen to some music. And the first song I hear was "I'm a Bee." I could not believe it. What do you call it? Black Eyed Peas. Oh, okay.
They don't sing that. That's them?
Yeah, that's them.
Really?
Why would I lie about it?
All right, this isn't a radio
Okay,
station
let's
for
talk
music.
about Rashi right now.
It's all about me.
Mr. Ring of Honor.
That's what I'm
Huge
called.
show. Opener, big matches, big spots, big crowds.
Yeah, a lot of fun, man. Action-packed weekend.
Rashi.
That's what they say
You
when
teamed up with the Briscoes and Necro Butcher on Saturday?
You and Necro was tremendous.
Yeah, we are. you should have seen after we went to my aunt's house for some nice barbecue, ribs, steak, and
lemonade.
And Necro's just fascinating the whole family.
We absolutely didn't get an invite.
Your phone was broken, supposedly.
No, the battery
that
was
when
dead.
you were ignoring
Absolutely.
me. Yeah, Saturday evening. Yeah, you were ignoring me.
Claudio was in that. Claudio was in that match as well, right? What is that?
Yeah.
What was that move? His finisher? I don't know if it was his finisher, but there was something that was a tilt-a-whirl kind of.
Oh man, that is so cool. I didn't see it because I was on the floor. He kicked me in the mouth
right.
previously.
It was almost Canadian Destroyer-esque.
He kind of gets you like in a torture rack, and then he removes his arms and does like revolution.
Helicopters.
Yeah. It is really, really cool.
Yeah, good matchup. It was a good time, though. How was the experience, though, being out in Phoenix, host city of WrestleMania, wrestling for Ring of Honor in front of well over 1,000 people each day who just loved the show? Sonny was there on Friday. Jim Cornette was in rare form as well all weekend. He had some one-liners that we'll hope to share with you again soon here on this program. But, wow. How was the experience overall?
Man, it was so much fun. I'm still there. But anyway, there was a lot of fans from all over the world at our show. A couple specifically came to Phoenix for our show, which was very weird and
but cool, right?
at the same time. Yeah. I met a lot of fans that I've met on Facebook or that I've met on the show here, actually. Or the weirdest thing ever, there was a guy that was in Phoenix that was in Detroit at Ring of Honor the previous week.
Wow.
And he made me a promise, and I thought he was lying, and he shows up, he says, here I am. It's like, wow.
Well, Frank said he was going to be here.
Oh, that was Frank?
That was Frank.
Well, we want to thank a lot of people who really were instrumental in our successful weekend this past weekend covering WrestleMania 26, specifically The Miz, of course.
Really? Can I say one thing before you guys continue?
That he's awesome? Yeah.
No. Damian, I'm a little bit disappointed in you.
What'd I do?
We go out Friday night, this guy's pockets, they're so tight. The only shot he gave me was a cheap shot.
Wow.
You.
Damian Nelson.
Wait, what happened? What did I do?
You don't even remember.
No,
you
I don't.
So drunk.
Sorry about that. Rumplemans ain't cheap.
Will you tell the people the weird story about what you text me at like 1 a.m, some fan?
Right. We're at the Ring of Honor show on Friday. Someone comes up to me. Wait, no, we got to back up because we're in the car.
Yeah.
And you said to me.
I said, Damian, do you think the people would notice if you put on my trunks and went out there and wrestled tonight?
How
Can
funny,
they tell us apart? Yeah, we were, so what, blah, blah, blah.
At the Ring of Honor show Friday, a fan comes up to me. Hey, dude, you were awesome in that first matchup. I looked at him and I just started laughing. I'm like,
we all were like,
and I'm like, no, that certainly was not me. But
so yeah, I go from looking like Michael Clark dunking every white person.
Wow.
Yeah, I lose a few pounds and now I look like Damian Nelson.
The Miz, DA A. Smith, who was great all weekend. Armando Estrada, who just was tremendous to us. Jim Cornette, Hornswoggle, Gloria.
Oh, Gloria.
Gloria! Took very good care of us. AZ Digital Transfers out in Phoenix, Arizona was a lifesaver. We had some production problems, which caused some delays with the shows and whatnot, but they really took care of us. Mikey, Armando's brother. AirTran Airlines, of course. The Candlewood Suites, and just so many people.
Well, you're forgetting one important person.
Who?
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Takashi.
That was like a rip. And I
hangover.
gotta thank John Morrison as well.
Yes.
He
hooked you up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Almost got you arrested.
Basically.
Wait, then what happened with Barbara Streisand?
Oh, Bab! Almost forgot about Bab.
And Jose Canseco.
Let me tell you this, though. There was so much going on, and a lot of it we stumbled across. There was so much going on.
Damien stumbled into stuff, too.
But you almost forget about a lot of that stuff. And really, if you have the opportunity just to go out and be a part of WrestleMania, it is that great because you get to meet great people. The city is overtaken by wrestling fans, and it's just such an awesome experience, even if you don't meet The Miz, just to be out at WrestleMania.
You met The Miz 4 times.
Overall, WrestleMania 26, David Hero. Let's compare it to your last live WrestleMania experience.
Which was WrestleMania 20
in New York
City.
Empire.
No, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 20 I thought was a better show, but WrestleMania 26, man, it was a hell of a party.
See, you're talking about the whole weekend.
You have to have the whole experience.
All right. No, that's fine. We'll go with the experience then. Meathead, visually, you've been to 4 WrestleManias.
I've been to 3.
Visually, what did you think of WrestleMania 26 compared to the most recent WrestleManias out there?
Well,
let's go dating back to 21.
Okay. Well, I went to 22, 23, and 24. 21 was the last one I saw on TV. That was the one that was in Hollywood. 26 failed, man. I didn't like it. 21 was so much better. It had the build-up lead into it with all the video vignettes. You know, the commercials with JBL playing the you don't know, you can't handle the truth. I like 21 much better. 26 was a letdown for me.
I will say this WrestleMania, the first half of it was a bit disappointing. But overall, WWE, again, we've said this so many times, they're so good at what they do and how they do it because everybody's going to remember HBK Taker.
Yep.
That's it. Nothing else will matter on the show. Batista said tonight, which I thought was a little odd that he said, he's like, after this week, nobody's going to remember WrestleMania. And he was obviously referring to the Cena-Batista match, but just to say that, that's a great soundbite to pick up. Overall, it was still a great experience, and of the 8 I've been to, this is certainly the best WrestleMania experience overall that I've had, and it was great to meet all of the tremendous listeners and viewers of the Pro Wrestling Report out there from all over the world, and you can see a lot of those fans on our edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive, which is up right now at pwrshow.com. We're going to be with you again next Monday night, so be sure to join us right here on 540 ESPN and at pwrshow.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to the special WrestleMania review edition of the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.